All right, welcome back to video number 2. This is my second video, and I was quite happy when I posted the first one about 30 days cold shower. This whole YouTube channel is dedicated to challenges that I'm putting myself through, different things that I'm learning from a different perspective, and also a lot of good knowledge that I want to share in the process of learning. I don't consider myself any life coach or anything like that. I'm just a guy that is figuring out things in life, and as I learn and I say that, hey, this works for me, this gave me a different perspective, I'm really actually documenting myself and my self-growth journey, and I'm very early in the process. I'm still figuring out a lot of things. I'm learning a lot of things. I'm trying to figure out what works for me and what doesn't work for me. So I came across this book early of last year actually. I saw a YouTube video about Davids Goggins, and Davids Goggins is an American ultramarathon runner, cyclist, triathlete, public speaker, motivational speaker. He's also United States Navy SEAL, retired, and also served in the Iraq War. He wrote this book, Cant Hurt Me, and last October I completed this book. I didn't read it. I usually listen to audibles, and that's the best way for me to kind of absorb the information compared to reading. I love audibles, but this audible was very special. I think, if I can say, would be better than reading the book, because the writer, Adam, was narrating it while having Davids Goggins in front of him, and every section that they finish, David would go back and forth with him and talk about what that really meant, his personal opinions about that, and he'll expand from there. So it's a really life-changing book. There's just so much details into it about someone's life and how he came from a very bad place in his life to where he is today. And most of the whole book is basically about challenging your mind, torturing your mind, evolving your mind, and it got me to learn a lot of different perspective. But chapter 5 was the chapter that I keep going back to, and I keep referencing it. It kind of like made me think a lot about life, and it's a very important chapter. And today I just want to share with you a take from this chapter, chapter 5, that actually really helped me look at things differently. So chapter 5 is the armored mind. David talks a lot about, at this point of the chapter in his life, he was putting himself through a lot of challenges and everything, but there was just still something that he's not fulfilling. And he realized that there's a lot of things from his past has been carried to this day still with him, and because of that he couldn't advance, he couldn't move forward. His mind couldn't expand into different directions that he wanted to. So he went back to revisit a lot of them, and it started out by him telling that you gotta hold yourself accountable for the things in your past. Not to say that, oh, I regret doing it and this and all. I say like, okay, I was that kind of person. This is the kind of person I was. I was insecure. I was in a lot of self-doubt, low self-esteem. I wasn't a good person. Now I need to acknowledge that. Like, I need to drop my ego and pride, and I need to realize that this is who I was. And he talks about how obstacle makes the mind stronger when we take on challenges. And the only way to develop an armored mind and make it bulletproof is that you need to go to all your sources, to the source of all your fears and insecurities. Very similar to story of Batman. And actually, one of my next videos, we're going to talk about Batman Begins. That's a whole different thing, and I like to explore about that side of how Bruce Wayne and Batman and maturity and evolving and self-awareness, everything, training, fear, all that is connected. But we talk about Goggins right now. He talks a lot that in the past we have all that problems that we sweep under the rug and we avoid it. When we run into the problems later on in life, those rugs get lifted and the darkness reemerge. So technically we are kind of like living in denial, and that makes us our own worst enemy, our mind. We start blaming it on God, on the devil and everything like that, but it was him that was actually stopping him. It was him that was stopping him from moving forward. It was him that was stopping him from advancing. It was him that was stopping him from evolving into something else. And he said that you have to get back to your past and make peace with it. And sit and think about how things could have gone differently. This wasn't fair, that wasn't fair. Facing those incidents and negative influences and accepting them as weak spots in your character. And only when you identify them and accept them, then you can stop running away from your past. Use those as fuel to become a better person and a stronger person. He says you gotta go back and face those incidents again, but not sit and dwell on it like, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that. No, it's like, okay, face those incidents and negative influences and accept them as weak spots in your character. And once you kind of acknowledge that, like, okay, I was a really prideful person, I was really insecure about this and this and this and things in my life, I had a lot of self-doubts in doing this. Analyze them, go after them, put it on a table and say, this is who I was, this is what I did, this is why I'm going to hold myself accountable for, this is how I'm going to change myself. And only then, when you have identified all this, you tell yourself, this is not the person that I want to be, I'm going to become something else. And use those as fuel to always remind you, don't go back to becoming this person. It talks about a sword that always needs to be sharpened every time, and it always gets blunt. Every time you use it, it's gonna get blunt, so you gotta keep on sharpening that sword. So the way I see this self-growth journey has been is that I can keep learning new things, like, oh, do these 5 steps to become a better person this way, follow this routine to become a better person this way, to improve yourself and all. All that's not gonna work. All that's not gonna work if I still have my pride, my ego, and always think that I'm right, and not going back and confronting all these different things and instances in life. And only when that is confronted, it doesn't mean it will heal. He doesn't talk about like it's gonna heal right away. He specifically says you use that as fuel for the future, for when the next challenge come, you have to remind yourself, hey, do it differently, because this is how you used to do it. This is the person you were. This is the person that you didn't know you were, but now you know. So be better. And a very important chapter when you're reading this book or you're listening to the Audible, pay very close attention. This chapter is really long. I don't have much more to say about it except this few points that were really important to me. And the way I see it, the journey is that seek help. If you don't understand something, ask. Or if you're trying to figure out something, look forward to a mentor or someone that can help you analyze these problems and evaluate it from a different point of view. So, like, after reading this book, after completing this book, especially this chapter, it opened up myself to a lot of different things that I didn't think I would do. For starters, I kind of came across this program for some time that I've been thinking about it and thinking of signing myself up. It cost a lot. It's almost like a college tuition fee like that, but I just kind of put it aside. But after this book, I realized like, okay, after this book, I realized like David said that everyone's story is different. Everyone's equation is different. How you challenge yourself is you have to go back and hold yourself accountable and figure out what works for you and what doesn't. Today is all about The Armored Mind, Cant Hurt Me by Davids Goggins, and it's an extremely amazing book. I recommend everyone to read it. It's one of those books you have to read in life. And also, YouTube has tons of Davids Goggins motivation. I play that almost 4 times a week in the mornings when I wake up, and it really helps. It's kind of like it gets a little bit savage, vulgar, but it needs to be. That's the way. Sometimes we need that kind of motivation in our life to push ourselves and advance and move forward. So this is my second video. I don't know how good it was. I'm still very nervous in talking in front of the camera. I'm overcoming that fear, but I believe in slow growth, and over time, like I said, in 2 years maybe I look back at this first 2, 3, 5, 10, 50 videos and realize like, oh, I've come a long way. I'm very excited to continue recording my self-growth journey and sharing it on this channel, and do like and subscribe. I appreciate that, and look forward to the next video. Thank you.
Not real and raw with who the fuck you are. Nothing's gonna change. And in this nice new world that we live in, we want to hear you're just a little big. No, man, you might be fat. And it's okay to hear that from yourself and from everybody else. So that's where it started at. So the first thing about it is, once you realize it, and you have to realize it, you gotta call yourself out. Addressing it is very small. It doesn't go from like one morning I'm this way, next morning I wake up and presto, 5 steps to greatness. No, it ain't that, brother. You read my book, this is hard work. It's every day, like right now. I had to be honest with you, man. I'm even shaking right now being on this show. I'm a big time introvert. How you address it is you face it. You face it every day. You face it every single day of your life. A lot of folks talk so much shit about, hey, I'm gonna change your life. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Are you accountable for what you're doing? Are you accountable, and I mean to the T, for what you're saying? I am. And that's where it started. It started with that total accountability of, let's not lie today. Let's tell people the truth about who you are. And when you can get on and tell someone, like I'm doing right now, exactly how fucked up you are, that's the goal in life. To put your life on a billboard, on the busiest road, in the busiest highway in the world, and say, this is how fucked up I used to be. Take it or leave it. My goal in life was to, in my mind, believe I'm the hardest man alive. And that's why the whole thing is Can't Hurt Me. That's what it's about. It's about whatever you think you are, you have to make that dream a reality. But that's where the hard part is making that dream reality. That's where the hard work comes. That's where people know, how do you keep grinding every day? You have to make those insecurities, those fears. Like when I was 300 pounds, I didn't have any drive. I'm gonna go be a Navy SEAL. What kind of stupid shit is that, 300 pounds? There wasn't like a drive to go be a Navy SEAL. I was an insecure, lying kid, afraid. I had to look in my insecurities and in my fear and find drive in that. We're all looking for passion. Passion's all around you. You have a whole fucking stack of it all around you. It's your insecurities, all that shit. You gotta dive deep in that shit. It's all in there. All the energy and fuel you need is right in yourself. It's all there. You got a lot of stuff to do to overcome. And that's where I found it. I found it right there in my own insecurities. I found drive in my own insecurities. And that's the most powerful thing in the world. When you can find drive in your own doubt, fear, insecurities, you become very unstoppable.